So coronavirus has just come around to remind us of one thing. I don't think it will take a while. 2020 has been an interesting year so far. There's been coronavirus, there's been some needless deaths as well. It will take a while for the world to be what it used to be, what we knew the world to be. But I think this is also a good reminder of the basic things we should be doing every day in our lives.
Amazing. Now let's talk about your media life. You as a media personality, I understand your father, inspired you, and Barbara Gazy also inspired you. What did you learn from Barbara Gazy and your father, and what really inspired you to enter into the media space?
Well, Barbara Gazy, at the time she was called Barbara Sam. I was too young to learn anything. I just loved her on TV. You know, I just saw her on TV and I loved her because I thought she was so beautiful. And she spoke so well. So I was too young. I must have been maybe 6 or 7 years old. I don't even remember.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't remember. I was very young. But I'm a follower of news. I've always loved news. I've always loved to read. And so it didn't matter how old I was to follow anything. And so I just fell in love with her for the simple fact that she was on TV talking and reading. You know, if you ask me to tell you one thing Barbara said that stuck with me, I don't remember. All I knew is that she was there reading the news and she was beautiful, and so that's why I fell in love with her. My father is a big reader. He's a reading buff. He loves to read, and so he introduced me to books. And so I tend to like people who like to read a lot. And so if for instance you see me with friends, they all have something that I identify with. Like my friend Sandra and Kobby. Sandra loves to read, and so I love Sandra for the fact that she loves to read. I've met people who didn't like reading, became friends, and now they read a lot. Because I think reading is important. I've heard people say that, oh, me, I don't like reading. There is no such thing as you don't like reading, because you go on Kobby Chase page to look for gossip. That is reading as well. You go on very useless platforms and read stupid stories as well. That is reading. But every knowledge is power. What you should ask yourself, that if I read this piece, what am I taking away? If you're not taking anything positive away, then it is a very useless piece. Because everything you read must impact on you. It must leave something with you. It should contribute to your next conversation. You get it? And so everyone loves to read, but you just don't know what your interest is. So for instance, I love history. So a lot of the books I read are historical. I love to read about what people have done in their past, as opposed to fiction. So I would read a book by Fidel Castro, because I want to understand what Fidel Castro was thinking during the revolution in Cuba. You know, I need to understand things. I will read Barack Obama's book because I want to understand what Barack Obama was thinking when he was running for Congress, when he was running for the presidency. I want to understand all of that. So I like historical events. So I read those. There are people who love fiction. Fiction is not for me. It's not something like that. Is why I don't even like movies, unless the movie is based on a real life, incident. But fictional stuff I don't like. So everyone has something they love. There are people who enjoy music. They love music. There are books about music. When you pick up a book about music and you start reading and you really love music, you will not put that book down. But if you are not the type who loves music and you go and pick a book about music on a shelf, you definitely not read it. I mean, so we all love to read. We just haven't found the right book for ourselves. And I think it behoves everyone to find the right book for themselves. And so it's important to read. Very important to read.
Why you may be a papa? Now, let's look at the transition. When you first entered into the media space, which station was first? The second station, third?
Making such positive inroads. So I think sometimes parents must pause and think about the direction their children want to go. Because if you're a parent, you're actually just there to guide. You're not there to impose. Your role is to guide your child. And I think we forget that part, that because you birthed them doesn't mean that they must follow you through and through. Whatever you say, they must take it, and go with it. So you're just there to guide your children so they don't make the mistakes you made. But in any case, there is nothing wrong with making a mistake, because mistakes make us perfect. Mistakes are important. If you make a mistake, yes, people will laugh at you, but you only get better from mistakes. And sometimes they are very difficult, but difficulties mastered are opportunities won. I think that is what people forget, that if you master the difficulties, you win several opportunities. And so if you feel that you are making a mistake, don't be hard on yourself that you've made a mistake. It is normal. Slips are normal. The greatest people in the world made mistakes. The greatest people we celebrate today made mistakes in the past. And we learn from our mistakes every day. So parents shouldn't forget that they're just there to guide their children and not to get their children to live the life. Because sometimes the parents really, in the past, said, no person, you're doctor, but now I'm born doctor by force. Your child must live your dream for you. That doesn't make any sense anyway. So for instance, when I see my son sometimes my son tries to rap, and I say to him that, I like the rap, go on. If you want to perfect it, perfect it. My son is not reading music in school, he's reading economics in school, but sometimes he likes to dabble in music. The last time he was creating a beat, and he said, do you like this beat? I said, yeah, it's fantastic. Even though I didn't like it, I had to just say, yeah, it's fantastic, but I think that if you tweak it a bit, it will be better. And someone said, why are you doing this with your son? Do you want your son to be a musician? I don't have a problem at all if my son wants to be a musician. I don't have a problem at all. As long as it is legal, I don't have a problem. As long as it makes him happy. If my son turns out tomorrow and says that, I think I want to release a single, I'll be, yay, I think I'll be the best manager of him. That, yay, I'm giving you my full support. Go ahead and make music. If he says that tomorrow, this is what I want to do, as long as it is legal, he's got my full support to do it. And I think that's what parents should do as well. They should be happy for their children, guide their children so that they take the right path. Yeah.
Amazing. Now let's talk about curriculum, especially in Ghana or education. One were the days, music and dance was very effective. Reading was very effective. And I'm talking about the government institutions or the government schools. Do you think that our curriculum is really helping the kids growing now?
I think the world is changing. And so the pedagogy, the teachings, method should change as well. We're in the 21st century. And 21st century skills are different from what we were born into how many years ago. So the 21st century skills involves a lot of analyzing, a lot of curiosity, a lot of thinking, critical thinking. It involves so much. It involves innovativeness. It involves coloring, outside the lines. When you're a kid, you go to school and they give you boxes that color the boxes, and you color everything within the box. But the 21st century is more about coloring outside that box and not inside the box, per se. And so the pedagogy has changed in the 21st century. And I think there are schools in Ghana, there are teachers in Ghana who have hooked onto the new way of thinking. The curriculum is changing. In the past it was all what the teacher says, you take it and you go away. Read, what do they call it? Chew and pour. Is that
Chew and pour.
Yeah.
Chew and pour.
Yeah. So it was more of that. But now it shouldn't be so. You should be able to apply what the teacher tells you. So teachers, for instance, should loosen up. The fact that you say that matter is anything that occupies space. I don't even remember the science definition of that. The fact that you've said that to the child in the classroom and the child has written that verbatim. It doesn't mean that if you asked a question in the exam room, what is matter, the student must write exactly what you told the student to write. They must write it the way they understand it, as long as they're not losing the meaning of matter.
But that is not happening in Ghana and in most of our schools. Most teachers wanted to give dito. That is why, I mean, I'm sure that's how come a lot of students end up doing the chew and pour.
Well, that's true to some extent, but it could also be that students feel that is the easiest way to pass the exam, because now you have teachers who have taken up higher learning. They've traveled abroad, they've acquired masters. Even in Ghana, they've acquired masters here, and so they want to change their teaching styles. But you still have students who would rather do the chew and pour. It took me a while to understand what chew and pour was, but that is it. So everyone has to change. It's not just the teaching, it's not just the teachers, the students as well must develop a certain skill to ask questions. You still have an era where students are afraid to question their teachers. You question your teacher, it's assumed that you are arrogant, you are disrespectful.
We lack confidence. To ask questions.
So the 21st century thinker is also a very confident person. Timidity is such a low key. Timidity should not be encouraged. And I think sometimes, and it's not across the board, sometimes our teachers make us very timid. For instance, when I was in primary school at Alcid Academy, my teacher of English was a very confident woman. And she made sure that we were all very confident in class. So, for instance, if she used a word and we were not comfortable with the word, or we didn't understand the word, we could ask her to tell us what the word was, what it meant, the history of the word, and she would do that. If we felt that the teacher was wrong, we could say that no, we disagree. Not that we know better, but because we've been reading, you have a different opinion. And if the teacher still thinks that she's right, then the teacher would have to convince you that I'm right. But it doesn't mean that the children are disrespectful. The children are just curious and they're asking more questions. And I think that is what the curriculum should be. I think I read science. I read science in secondary school. Yeah, I read science in school, and we had laboratories. Crazy. We had laboratories. We had laboratories. I think every school that reads science has a laboratory. The question is, if the laboratories are well equipped. Some of the laboratories are ill-equipped. They don't have enough. But yeah, I remember titration in the chemistry class. We did practicals. We did practicals. And I think it happens in a lot of the senior high schools. Maybe they need more equipment. But I'm sure some schools have more, some schools have less. So the practicals happen. But I completely agree with you that the practical side of things is also very important. So for instance, in senior high school, and I'm saying this because my son, when my son was doing his O levels and then A levels, he was doing a lot of internships. He did a lot of internships in secondary school. Yeah, he did a lot of internships. So when
internship in secondary school.
Yeah.
Wow.
Come and tell me that
Now what's it doing? What's you know then?
Plebeian.
What's that?
An ordinary person.
And the word is what?
Plebeian.
So you recite after me.
You cannot come and so if I, for instance, you Kobby, I don't need to know you personally to give you advice. If I realize that you're doing something on social media and it is great, I don't have to know you personally to encourage you. And I do that a lot, and I realize that people are shocked. I go into people's DMs, they don't know me. I just go into their DMs and I say, I think that what you're doing is good. Stay on it. Don't lose focus. Do this, do that. And they don't know me from Adam. It's because I want to see everyone win. I want to see everyone happy. And I don't need a personal relationship with you to do that, you know. And it's the little things. We must learn to encourage other people. And when you do that, you have a clean heart, you are happy. Nothing negative happens to you. Nothing at all. But what I notice is that in Ghana, in the media especially, people just don't want to encourage others. And I think it is the height of foolishness. It is complete folly that you have something. Share. It doesn't have to be money. You know, sometimes people think that it is money they need. They don't need money. They just need a little push, just a word or two to encourage them. And they realize that, oh, I didn't need money after all. This is what I was missing. You get me?
Nana, I
Yeah.
think, I mean, speaking about empowerment, and I'll use myself as an example. I never knew you from Adam. I met you and you had a very great conversation with me. And if you remember, you are one of the few, I mean, you are the only person who even told me that I should start this Instagram live, even way before coronavirus came.
Way before that. Yeah.
Way before that. And I was struggling on how I can even start that. I was really struggling. So when the coronavirus lockdown started, I was the first blogger in Ghana to start this whole interview thing.
And you're one of the best bloggers in Ghana, I must say.
I
always tell you that.
I'm humbled. And so, and again, look at the people you've really helped, GH1. You keep posting them, the girls that I mean, God bless you.
Oh, thank you. Amen.
Nice. Now, let's look at your transition from TV3 to GH1. At a point when you're going to GH1, we knew GH1 to be the entertainment bars station. But now, politics, news, how were you able to have that smooth transition to build that confidence?
I don't know if I had a magic wand, but I think that everyone agreed at the time, and we had the 2016 elections coming as well. And so, and again, I must tell you that when I was leaving TV3, I had so many offers on my desk.
Wow.
So many. Yeah, so many.
With huge money. Not of you heavy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't come cheap, you know.
I know. I can see your mansion. I can see your mansion.
No, serious. So I had a lot of offers, but I looked at all the offers and I love challenges. I think I'm such a stupid adventurer. You know, I love challenges. So I like to do the things that people think are impossible. And is it Walt Disney? Walt Disney once said that you must have fun doing the impossible things. Once you're having fun doing impossible things, they happen. And because I'm a big reader, I see a challenge and I'm reminded of a great person's challenge, and I just say that no, I can do this. So when I left them and I looked at all the offers in front of me, and they were all things that I would usually do. Multimedia does a lot of politics. I mean, I think you've got to give it to Joy FM. Joy FM. I think it's the biggest media brand in Ghana. And I will never stop saying that. They have been consistent for 25 years. And I don't think that we give them the credit for it. You know, they've been very consistent.
You mean multimedia?
Yeah, multimedia. They've been very consistent. They've been great, and they have a very strong, positive brand, you know. And I'm not afraid to say this. As I told you, I'm not afraid of competition. I know there are people in other stations who will never say this about another competitive brand. But I am not a weak person. I'm a strong person. I am not afraid to say when people are great. I'm not afraid to say when people are bad. You know, I'm not afraid to say both. And so if Joy FM is doing something really great, Joy FM must be applauded for doing something really great, you know. And they've got wonderful people, they're wonderful reporters, hardworking people, you know. And so, as I was saying, I saw all of those offers and I was just thinking that there is no challenge here for me. When I go in there, I'm going to do what I usually do. And then Bola Ray called me. And Bola said, "You are my sister." And Bola and I go way back, you know, way back. And so I looked at Bola's offer and I said to Bola that, you know what, let's change the station. And Bola said, "Well, you know, it's been an entertainment brand. Do you think it is possible?" And I said to him that, let's have fun doing impossible things. you know. So that is
Wow.
why I went in for GHone, because I didn't want to be part of numbers, you know. I didn't want to be part of the numbers. I wanted to be part of something new, something different, and that's why I chose to go to GHone.
Now, who is a feminist?
That's an interesting question. Feminism, huh? Feminism has been battered by so many people. And a feminist is anyone who believes in equality. So you don't have to be a woman to be a feminist. There are men who are feminists. You believe in equality. You believe that men and women should be given equal opportunities. So if it comes to education, if boys are going to school, girls must go to school too. If it comes to work, if a man can be CEO, a woman can be CEO too, if they have the same credentials. If the woman has better credentials than the man, and the woman is competent, the woman should occupy the position. If the man has better credentials and is more competent, the man should occupy the position. So feminism is about equality of sexes. I've seen people. There is a big difference, and I have to say this, that I see commentary on feminism, and it breaks my heart that I just say that people don't understand feminism.
We abuse the
Feminism,
word. We abuse the word feminism.
yes. Feminism is a movement. So many movements. It's a movement to achieve equal rights. Look, and it's not just for women. There are men, so many men, who deserved an opportunity. It didn't go to them. It went to a woman.
Wow.
Who probably didn't deserve it. That is unequal. There is inequality there. Do you get it? So feminism is more about equality of sexes. But yes, you find more women leading it, because you realize that across the board, it is women who are most of the time disadvantaged. But there is a big difference between feminism and misandry.
So explain that.
Misandry
Miss
is
Andrew.
misandry.
Miss Andrew.
MISANDRY. So
Miss
there are
Andrew.
people who are
Okay.
misandrists. Misandrists are people who just hate men. They just like misogynists. And misogynists, they just don't like women. Misandrists, they don't like men. There's a difference between being a feminist and being a misandrist. There are some women who just hate men. Anything a man annoys them. There are some men who just hate women. Anything a woman annoys them. Misogynist. So you realize that maybe you, Kobby, you are in an organization and you feel that you've reached the point where you become a general manager. They put you in charge, and everybody's that you find well somewhere because but people need to take out their rose tints and see that you are competent. You deserve the job. And it's the same way. If a woman takes it, a woman is there because of merit, not because. And it's so stupid when you hear people say that a woman at the top slept her way through to the top. But nobody says that of a man who is at the top. If a man is a CEO, no one will say that he slept his way to the top. Why? Don't men sleep around too? Men sleep around too. Women sleep around too. Who are the men sleeping with? They are sleeping with a woman.
So men can also sleep with a woman to get to the top.
No, I'm saying that nobody sleeps to get to the top. But it is the usual nonsense people like to throw about. When they see a woman at the top, their first conclusion is that she slept her way to the top. But why don't you think the same way when it's a man at the top? That is basically what I'm trying to say. But I'm also saying that there is a difference between feminists. The reason people can't stand feminists, and those people are blind, because what they really hate is actually not feminism. There are women who just get up and they insult men for no reason. They're insulting men for no reason. They're just misandrists. There are men who wake up in the morning and they're insulting women. They're just misogynists. You know, it's either black or white. You know, there's no gray area in feminism. So you're either a feminist who believes in equality, or you are just on the side, a misandrist or a misogynist. And honestly, I think for women who are working so hard to find their purpose, the usual abuse that you slept your way to the top should not in any way disturb you. Because if you tell me that I slept my way to the top, you are below me. So if you think that I slept my way to the top, start sleeping. What are you waiting for? If it's that easy, start sleeping. I am here, I'm here, you are there. And you are down here accusing me of sleeping my way to here. But you are really down here. So
watching that very day, if now what shot.
So let me tell you what happened that day. So the president was going to address the nation that day, right? So I got information from the Jubilee House around 6 p.m. that the president will be speaking at 10 p.m. So I immediately alerted the office that the president will be speaking at 10:30 p.m. So make sure that whatever program is on, you take it down and take the president's address, live. And so I tuned in at 10 because I got home around 8, took a shower, and then I started reading a book that I recently bought. So I read the book for about an hour, and then I went up to my room. It was maybe 10 or 9:55-ish, right? So I tuned in, and then Duvet was on TV. It went on for a while. I was just going up and down. I wasn't really paying attention to it because I just said, oh, Nancy and her life, they're doing their thing there. Then I saw the visuals and I was like, I gawked. I was like, huh?
So you saw it yourself? What guys
I
I
saw
say?
it. Yeah, I saw it. So I saw it and immediately I called the office. And this was 10:07, 7 past 10 p.m. So I called the MCR and I said to the guy that take down that show immediately. And he said, what should I play? And I said, play music or do something, whatever. Take down that show. But of course, there were a lot of people watching. And so people had recorded videos. So immediately I called the producer and I asked the producer, what happened? And that's the lead producer of the show. And usually I like to encourage leaders to give younger people opportunities, that you don't have to do it all. Sometimes allow people to come into your space as well. So she said, oh, I asked this other person to take over the editing of the show. So I said, okay, let's meet in the office tomorrow. And I said to her, so she said, what are we going to do? And I said, well, the harm has been done. There is absolutely nothing we can do about it. The most sensible thing to do is to apologize to our viewing public because this is a blunder. So the next day, I want to understand what happened, how that video ended up on the screen. I don't want to get into the details of it, what happened at the meeting, but I can tell you for a fact that it was a sabotage. Somebody, yeah, it was a sabotage. I've dealt with it. I noticed that I didn't notice. People called me, oh, Nanaba, they said you show porn. And I said, do you honestly, I don't even watch porn. I don't watch porn because I don't understand the concept of porn. I know people who watch porn. I don't judge them. That's fine. That's they know what they get from porn. And I also believe in the ethics of the media. And that is why I wrote that apology that evening, because if I were watching on another station and it happened, it would have offended my sensibilities. True. That is why I, offered that apology. And saying sorry is not a problem for me. I don't have a problem at all apologizing. When I believe that I'm in the wrong, I will apologize. And this was wrong on all fronts. It was a sabotage. It happened. We've dealt with the situation. People decided to come for Nanaba. Guess what? Not a single one of them affected me. I couldn't be bothered. I think people are bored. Unemployment is a big problem. It is a challenge. Unemployment is a challenge. People say all sorts of things on social media for attention.